You've been told life is hard. But what if I told you that over 2,000 years ago, people not only faced the same chaos, they mastered it. While most today crumble under stress, the ancient Stoics learned to face storms with steel in their minds and calm in their hearts. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire surrounded by wars, betrayal, and death. Yet he wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This wasn't poetry. It was survival. Stoicism isn't some dusty philosophy buried in marble halls. It's the ultimate operating system for warriors of the modern age. It's not about pretending to be emotionless. It's about control, about responding, not reacting. And if you learn this discipline, to master your reactions, your focus, your energy, you will become unstoppable in a world that constantly tries to shake you. You wake up and the world is already demanding something from you. Emails, notifications, expectations, pressure. Most people react instantly, letting chaos dictate their mood before they even take a breath. But not you, not anymore. You're here because you're done living like that. You're here to reclaim control. Epictetus, born a slave and later one of the greatest philosophers of Rome, he said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that. Life doesn't owe you comfort. It owes you challenges, tests meant to forge your character. Every delay, every rejection, every insult is training. The question is whether you'll take it personally or use it as fuel. You can't control the traffic, the weather, or the words of others, but you can control your discipline, your thoughts, your response. That's real freedom. That's power no one can steal. You've been wasting too much energy fighting what you cannot change. That's why you feel drained, defeated, and restless. You've been trying to control the storm instead of mastering yourself. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Most people read that and nod. Few actually live it. The Stoic doesn't beg for life to get easier. He sharpens himself until no storm can break him. Imagine sitting in traffic, anger boiling, heart racing. But instead of snapping, you breathe, detach, and choose peace. That's not weakness. That's dominance. Because in that moment, you prove mastery over your own mind. The world loses control over you. This is the battlefield of modern life. Not swords or shields, but thoughts, emotions, and reactions. If you win this inner war, the outer world will never defeat you again. Most people think philosophy is about ideas. Stoicism is about execution. It's not a theory, it's a discipline. It trains you to act with reason when others panic, to stay composed when everything collapses, to hold your center when chaos screams for your attention. Seneca said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." How much of your pain comes from replaying the past or fearing the future? Be honest. The Stoic warrior doesn't waste his life drowning in what-ifs. He confronts reality as it is, unflinching, and moves forward. That's why Stoicism still matters. It's not about thinking your way out of problems. It's about acting your way through them. You don't overcome fear by talking about courage. You overcome fear by walking through it, eyes open, heart steady. The modern Stoic doesn't run. He stands firm, adapts, and advances. You've been told to stay positive. But Stoicism doesn't care about toxic optimism. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about building strength when everything isn't. Life will hit you hard. People will betray you. Plans will fail. Your emotions will try to take the wheel. But discipline, that's your anchor. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't comfort, it's control. The Stoic doesn't avoid discomfort. He uses it as a forge. He turns rejection into resilience, pain into progress, and chaos into clarity. You want to change your life? Then stop expecting it to be easy. The warrior path is brutal, but it's honest. Every obstacle is a mirror showing you who you really are. Look into it, face it, because what stands in the way becomes the way. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." That's not poetry, it's a command. Every obstacle you meet is a test of your endurance and mindset. Most people quit at the first sign of resistance. They call it bad luck. But the Stoic sees resistance as the gym for the soul. When something blocks your path, you don't complain, you adapt. When life closes a door, you build a new one. The obstacle doesn't stop you, it shapes you. Every hardship is raw material for greatness. Seneca said, Difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. So, stop cursing your problems and start training with them. Pain isn't punishment, it's progress disguised as struggle. Every challenge that hits you is carving out the unshakable version of you that the weak never meet. You say you want strength, but you avoid the very things that build it. Comfort has made you soft. You reach for distractions instead of discipline, pleasure instead of purpose. But here's the truth. The Stoic doesn't chase what feels good. He chooses what makes him good. Seneca said, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he is not permitted to prove himself." You can't grow in safety. You can't build power in ease. Growth lives in discomfort, and comfort is the silent killer of potential. Every time you face something painful, that's life asking, do you want to remain ordinary or become unbreakable? Stop running, face it, feel it, rise through it. The pain you fear is the path that frees you. You don't rise by wishing for better days. You rise by preparing for worse ones. That's the Stoic truth. Marcus Aurelius woke up every morning reminding himself that the day would test him. With liars, with envy, with ignorance, yet he faced it calmly. Why? Because he expected it. Preparation kills panic. You must learn to anticipate hardship, not fear it. The Stoic doesn't beg for peace, he trains for war. And when the chaos comes, he's already steady. You can't control the storm, but you can control the soldier inside you. Stop asking, "Why me?" and start saying, "Try me." Life will not hand you peace, it will hand you tests. And if you want to be the kind of person who walks through fire without breaking, you must become fire yourself. When you stop fearing pain, you start gaining power. Most people crumble because they think pain is punishment. It's not. It's information. It's the voice of reality saying, "Wake up." Marcus Aurelius endured war, disease, and betrayal. Yet he wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it." Stop complaining. That's what separates the strong from the fragile. The weak look for escape, the strong look for meaning. Seneca said, "Fire tests gold. Adversity tests men. Every painful event is refining you, burning away weakness, comfort, and illusions. You either resist the fire and remain dull, or embrace it and become forged. Life will test you anyway, so you might as well use every scar as proof of your evolution. Pain is not your enemy, it's your personal trainer." Epictetus was born into slavery, beaten, humiliated, and stripped of control over his body, but not his mind. That's why he said, "You may fetter my leg, but not even Zeus can overpower my will." That's the essence of Stoic power. They can take your money, your status, your comfort, but they can't take your response unless you hand it over. You've been taught to chase control over everything, your job, people's opinions, the future, but all that chasing only makes you weaker. The Stoic reverses the game. He stops trying to control the world and masters himself instead. You cannot command the wind, but you can adjust your sails. You cannot stop the storm, but you can steer your ship. That's what separates warriors from worriers. One bends reality through inner strength, the other breaks under it. Every time you get angry at something beyond your control, you lose. Every time you dwell on what's unfair, you waste strength that could have built your next victory. Epictetus said, "When you are offended at any man's fault, turn to yourself and study your own failings. Then you will forget your anger." That's real accountability. You want power. Stop reacting. Start responding. The Stoic doesn't seek revenge. He seeks mastery. Anger makes you predictable. Composure makes you dangerous. When you stay calm under attack, people can't manipulate you. You become the quiet threat, the person who never loses control, because control is his weapon. Remember, life will keep testing you with fools, delays, and disappointments until you learn to stay unmoved. The day you stop reacting emotionally is the day you start ruling yourself. Most people confuse peace with passivity. They think calm means weak. But the Stoic's calm is not soft. It's deadly focused. It's the kind of silence you find before a storm. Marcus Aurelius ruled armies, faced plagues, and buried his own children. Yet he wrote with serenity. Not because he didn't feel pain, but because he refused to let pain define him. That's emotional dominance. You will never escape pain in this life, but you can refuse to become its victim. Seneca offered this wisdom. A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials. Remember that the friction you hate is the pressure that sharpens you. When you control your emotions, you control outcomes. The world belongs to those who stay clear while others panic. Calm is not surrender, it's strategy. You've been lied to. You've been told to follow your feelings, to trust your emotions, to do what feels right, but feelings lie. They change like the weather. Stoicism teaches you to lead your emotions, not obey them. Epictetus said, "It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. The way you interpret reality is what breaks you, not reality itself." Two people can face the same storm. One curses, the other conquers. What's the difference? Perspective. You can't control the wind, but you can control your lens. When you stop labeling everything as good or bad, life stops controlling you. Discipline of thought is the highest form of strength. You can't build a powerful life with a chaotic mind. So sharpen it, audit it, command it. Your mind is your fortress. Guard it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Your mind is the battlefield where every victory begins or ends. If you lose there, you lose everywhere. That's why Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. Weak thoughts create weak lives." If your inner voice is full of doubt, in fear, and excuses, don't be surprised when your outer world mirrors that weakness. You can't plant weeds in your mind and expect roses to grow. The Stoic trains his thoughts like a soldier trains his body. Daily, deliberately, relentlessly, he filters every emotion through reason. He questions his impulses before they control him. He doesn't wait for motivation. He commands it. This is mental warfare. Every negative thought you allow is an enemy breaching your gate. And the only defense is awareness, discipline, and choice. You think discipline is restriction, but it's liberation. The undisciplined man is a slave to his cravings, his distractions, his moods. The disciplined man is free because he decides what owns him. Seneca wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom isn't about doing whatever you want. It's about having the power to say no when you should. You can't call yourself free if every impulse commands you. Discipline is not punishment. It's proof that you're in control. The gym, the early mornings, the silence, the restraint. These aren't chains, they're weapons. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you build strength. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you reclaim your power. The weak chase comfort, the strong chase clarity. You must choose which one you'll serve. Discipline is the purest form of self-respect. When you keep promises to yourself, you prove you're worthy of trust. But when you break them, when you say you'll change and don't, you teach your mind to doubt you. That's why you feel stuck. The Stoics understood this long before modern psychology did. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, then do what you have to do. No shortcuts, no comfort, just action. Stop waiting for motivation, it's unreliable. You act, then motivation follows." Every disciplined act rewires your identity. Each small victory whispers, "I am in command." You become someone who follows through even when it hurts. That's what separates warriors from wishers. The Stoic doesn't talk about change, he embodies it. Every single day, through repetition, structure, and will, you say you want change, but your actions still serve your comfort, not your purpose. You scroll, complain, overthink, then wonder why nothing shifts. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." That's the line that ends all excuses. The Stoic doesn't wait for ideal conditions. He acts because he knows the perfect moment doesn't exist. Only this one. You keep thinking tomorrow will be easier, but tomorrow will be just like today, unless you make it different. The clock doesn't care about your feelings. Life rewards those who move, not those who hesitate. So stop planning your transformation and start living it. Each action you take toward your values is a blow against your old self. Talk less, do more. That's the only path to power. Action is the cure for weakness. Overthinking is the disease. You already know what needs to be done. You're just afraid to do it. Seneca said, "While we waste our time hesitating, life is slipping away." Every second you spend debating your potential is a second you'll never get back. The Stoic doesn't wait for confidence. He builds it through consistent motion. Confidence is not born in comfort. It's forged in effort, failure, and repetition. You gain strength by doing the thing you fear, not by thinking about it. Stop saying you'll start when you're ready. You'll never feel ready. That's the trap. The moment to act is always now. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's movement despite fear. The man who acts while trembling is far stronger than the one who hides behind excuses. Courage is not loud. It's quiet, steady, and often unseen. It's waking up and facing the day when no one's cheering. It's doing the right thing when nobody's watching. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, you could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. That's memento mori. Remember you will die, not to scare you, but to sharpen you. Death is the ultimate truth. Everything else is noise. When you understand that time is slipping away, hesitation becomes ridiculous. You stop wasting days in distraction because you realize each sunrise is one less you'll ever see. Let that fuel you. Live urgently. Speak honestly. Train relentlessly. Because the clock doesn't stop, and neither should you. Memento mori isn't about fear of death. It's about respect for life. You keep waiting for the right time, but the right time is an illusion. There's only now and the decisions you make inside it. Seneca said, it's not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Think about how many hours you've lost to doubt, scrolling, or replaying the past. That's your life leaking away in real time. The Stoic doesn't let time slip through his fingers. He guards it like treasure, because time is the only thing you can never earn back. Every day you wake up is a contract with mortality. You either use it or lose it. Stop saying you'll start Monday. The man who delays his purpose dies before he's buried. The Stoic acts today, in this breath, because he knows tomorrow is a myth. Time is the most ruthless teacher. It tests you first and teaches you later. You think you're waiting for a sign, but time is already moving without your permission. Marcus Aurelius wrote, do every act of your life as though it were your last. That's not poetic. It's tactical when you live like that. Procrastination dies. You stop postponing greatness and start practicing it. Each action becomes sacred. Every task matters. That's how the Stoic lives, with urgency and intention. You're not owed another sunrise. You don't have infinite tomorrows to get it right. So if something matters, move, speak, begin, because hesitation is how dreams rot. The Stoic warrior treats every day like borrowed time, and every decision like a legacy. Waste none of it. Most people fear death because they've never truly lived. They exist in half measures, always waiting, always planning, never doing. But Stoicism flips that fear on its head. Marcus Aurelius, facing plague and war, wrote, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. That's the tragedy of modern life, not dying, but dying without ever waking up to your purpose. You keep thinking you have time, but time is the one thing you'll never own. You don't control how long you live, but you control how alive you are while you're here. Stop sleepwalking through your days. Every conversation, every breath, every moment is an opportunity to live with fire and intent. Memento mori isn't about darkness. It's a reminder to live so fully that death finds nothing left to take. Gratitude is your weapon against despair. You think you need more to feel fulfilled, but you're drowning in abundance you don't even notice. Marcus Aurelius said, when you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. That's not a gentle suggestion. It's a survival tool. Gratitude is what keeps warriors from collapsing under the weight of the world. When you train your mind to see what's still good, you build resilience against what's bad. Seneca warned that the man who always wants more will always be poor, no matter how much he gains. Gratitude gives you freedom from that endless hunger. It's not about denying struggle. It's about recognizing that even struggle is a gift, because it means you're still in the fight. Gratitude is not softness, it's strength in disguise. It keeps your mind steady when everything else shakes. The Stoic doesn't say I deserve more. He says, I already have enough to become who I must be. That shift changes everything. When you stop complaining, energy returns. When you stop comparing, peace appears. Epictetus said, he is a wise man who does not grieve for the things which he has not, but rejoices for those which he has. Gratitude isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's about training your eyes to see value in imperfection. Even pain has purpose. Every hardship, every delay, every betrayal, each one carries a lesson meant to harden your mind and sharpen your soul. Gratitude makes you invincible because it leaves you with nothing to lose and everything to gain. The modern world teaches you to chase more money, more status, more attention. But Stoicism teaches you to master desire, not obey it. Seneca wrote, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor. Greed poisons the spirit because it traps you in endless dissatisfaction. You can't build peace if you're always chasing what's next. The Stoic doesn't measure wealth by possessions, but by self-control. True power is needing less, not wanting more. When you detach from the addiction of more, you gain clarity. You stop running after illusions and start focusing on what matters. Character, discipline, purpose. A man ruled by desire is a slave. A man who masters desire becomes free. Don't let cravings own you. Starve them until only your purpose remains. You are not what you own. You are what you control, and that begins inside. And Epictetus said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." The world screams at you to consume, to compare, to constantly feel behind. That's how mediocrity wins. It distracts you into obedience. But the Stoic doesn't bow to trends. He lives by principle, not impulse. You must understand, chasing approval, chasing luxury, chasing validation, all of it drains the power you could use to build yourself. Simplicity is not lack, it's focus. When you strip away the unnecessary, what remains is real. The disciplined man doesn't need more, he becomes more. Let the world run after noise. You build silence, strength, and standards that can't be bought. That's real wealth. Self-control is your greatest currency. Without it, you're broke no matter what you own. Seneca said, "He who conquers himself is the mightiest warrior." That's not a metaphor, it's a commandment. You lose the battle the moment you let impulses steer your life. Every time you let anger explode, you lose power. Every time you give in to laziness, you surrender territory in your mind. The Stoic doesn't fight the world first, he fights himself. He confronts his urges, disciplines his appetites, and chooses order over chaos. This isn't about denying pleasure, it's about refusing slavery to it. The man who can say no to distraction, to rage, to temptation, owns a strength no one can strip away. Control yourself, and you control your destiny. Fail to, and you'll be ruled by everything weaker than you. You think self-control limits your freedom, but it's the very thing that creates it. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The undisciplined mind chases every emotion, every desire, every impulse, like a leaf blown by the wind. The disciplined mind commands direction. It decides when to move, when to rest, when to speak, when to stay silent. That's true sovereignty. Without self-control, you are ruled by everything external. Food, lust, anger, fear, approval. With it, you become untouchable. You walk through chaos with your own gravity. Nothing can own you unless you allow it. Every moment you choose restraint. You fortify your inner fortress. The more you master yourself, the less the world can manipulate you. Freedom isn't given, it's earned through self-command. Mastery begins the moment you stop being ruled by reaction. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." The Stoic doesn't waste energy trying to control outcomes. He controls his response to them. That's the difference between those who crumble and those who conquer. You can't control the weather, people, or fate, but you can control your attitude, your choices, your preparation. When life throws its chaos, the weak panic, the Stoic adjusts. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. It's not about perfection, it's about command. Each moment you remain composed under pressure. You level up in strength. Calm is your weapon. Perspective is your armor. The man who controls his reaction controls the battlefield. Life will always test your composure. That's the arena where the real fight happens. Not in the gym, not in your job, but in your reaction to discomfort. Seneca said, "A great mind becomes a great fortune." He didn't mean money, he meant inner stability. When you control your mind, no chaos can bankrupt you. The Stoic doesn't crumble when plans fail. He adapts. He doesn't whine when things go wrong. He recalibrates. You've been conditioned to react emotionally, to seek instant comfort, to explode or withdraw when things don't go your way. That's weakness disguised as normal. The Stoic rewires that instinct. He meets every setback with logic, every insult with composure, every fear with clarity. It's not suppression, it's supremacy. Control your response, and you own the outcome. Emotional control isn't about being cold, it's about being composed. The Stoic feels deeply, but he channels emotion into action, not outbursts. Marcus Aurelius said, "If you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but your estimate of it, that's the secret. Your suffering isn't caused by events, but by your interpretation of them. You can't always change what happens, but you can always choose what it means. That's where your power hides, in perspective. The man who learns to pause before reacting becomes a weapon in a world full of noise. He listens. He observes. He waits. Then he strikes with precision. Calm doesn't mean passive. It means strategic. Your emotions should serve your goals, not sabotage them. The day you master this, chaos becomes your classroom. You cannot call yourself strong if your emotions control you. Strength isn't about lifting weight, it's about lifting your reactions above instinct, Seneca said. He who conquers himself is the mightiest of warriors. That's the real definition of dominance. Anyone can lash out, anyone can collapse under pressure, but the rare man, the Stoic, remains steady in the storm. Emotional maturity isn't natural, it's trained. You earn it by facing discomfort without running, by holding your ground when your instincts scream to flee. Every time you resist the urge to explode, you sharpen your edge. The Stoic doesn't suppress emotion, he shapes it into resolve. Anger becomes action, fear becomes focus, sadness becomes strength. That's how you turn emotion from weakness into weaponry. Control yourself, and you'll never be controlled. You must stop expecting life to be fair. It never was, and it never will be. Marcus Aurelius didn't complain about injustice, he prepared for it. He said, when you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, today I will meet the ungrateful, the arrogant, the deceitful, the envious. He expected the worst, so he could perform his best. That's the Stoic edge. You waste half your strength being shocked that people lie, that the world is messy, that plans collapse. Stop expecting fairness, expect tests. The Stoic doesn't get bitter, he gets better. He doesn't curse the storm, he trains in it. Life isn't supposed to be comfortable, it's supposed to make you conscious. Every difficulty is proof that you're still in the fight. Complainers fade, warriors adapt, accept that, and peace becomes your natural state. You gain peace not by avoiding chaos, but by walking through it with mastery. Epictetus said, don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whatever way they happen. Then you will find peace. Most people spend their lives fighting reality, arguing with what already is. That's why they suffer. The Stoic doesn't resist what he can't control. He redirects his energy toward what he can. Acceptance isn't surrender, it's strategy. It's choosing to focus on the part of the equation that's actually yours. When something collapses, you rebuild. When someone betrays you, you learn. When life burns you, you rise sharper. Nothing can truly harm you if you choose to extract wisdom from every wound. That's how the Stoic becomes untouchable, not by avoiding pain, but by transforming it into power. Pain will visit you whether you invite it or not. The Stoic doesn't deny it, he studies it. Marcus Aurelius said, if it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. That's the entire code of resilience. Pain loses half its power when you stop dramatizing it. Modern people drown in discomfort because they resist it instead of respecting it. Every hardship contains a message. Every wound is a teacher. The question is, are you listening? You can't become mentally strong by escaping pressure. You get strong by carrying it until it no longer crushes you. Seneca wrote, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. You train your body through resistance. You train your spirit the same way. Stop asking for easy days. Easy days build nothing. Pressure reveals who you are. Adversity is the classroom of greatness. You don't learn resilience from success. You learn it from struggle. Epictetus reminded his students, circumstances don't make the man. They reveal him to himself. Every trial you face is an X-ray of your character. It shows you where you're weak, where you avoid pain, and where your excuses live. That's the gift of hardship. It exposes the parts of you that still need work. The Stoic doesn't curse the lesson. He studies it. He doesn't see loss as punishment, but as preparation. Every obstacle you survive adds armor to your soul. Every setback you analyze gives you leverage. The average man prays for relief. The Stoic prays for strength. Because when you can stay composed under fire, you become something most people never achieve, unbreakable. You say you want strength, but you avoid struggle. You want peace, but you resist pain. You want wisdom, but you run from failure. That's not how this works. Seneca said, a man who has never been tested is worth little. Pressure reveals truth. Without resistance, there's no growth, only decay. The Stoic doesn't ask, why is this happening to me? He asks, what is this trying to teach me? That question separates victims from victors. You can turn any failure into fuel if you choose to see the lesson inside it. When life breaks you, rebuild yourself stronger. When people doubt you, let it refine your purpose. Pain is temporary, power is permanent. The Stoic understands that the obstacle is not the enemy. It's the invitation to evolve. Accept it, and nothing can stop you. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the furnace that forges it. Marcus Aurelius faced endless setbacks, political betrayal, sickness, but he never called himself unlucky. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is the path. When you stumble, don't retreat, recalibrate. Failure only destroys those who quit analyzing it. Every mistake holds a strategy for your next victory. If you're disciplined enough to face it without ego." The Stoic doesn't curse his defeats. He studies them like blueprints. Failure sharpens vision. It humbles arrogance. It builds precision. Each time you fall and rise again, your threshold for chaos expands. Eventually, nothing rattles you. Failure becomes your sparring partner. Not your enemy, embrace it. And you'll outlast everyone who fears it. Most people run from failure because they tie it to their worth. The Stoic separates the two. Epictetus said, "When you are offended by something, it's not the thing itself that troubles you, but your opinion about it. The same is true of failure. It's not failure that hurts, it's your judgment of it. You call it shame." But the Stoic calls it feedback. You label it defeat, but he calls it data. This shift changes everything. You stop taking failure personally and start using it professionally. Each setback becomes an upgrade. Each loss becomes a manual for your next move. Modern psychology calls it resilience. The Stoics called it virtue. Either way, it's built, not born. You earn it by facing rejection without surrender. By learning instead of lamenting. Failure is just feedback in disguise. You must stop fearing judgment. People will always talk, whether you win or lose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." That's the modern disease, slavery to approval. You scroll, you post, you perform, waiting for validation that never fills the void. The Stoic cuts that chain. He doesn't live for applause, he lives for alignment. What matters isn't how others see you, it's whether your actions honor your own code. Seneca said, "What need is there to weep over parts of life? The whole of it calls for tears. The world will misunderstand you no matter what you do. So stop trying to please it. The only opinion that truly defines you is your own, built on integrity, not applause." Validation is the enemy of mastery. The moment you start living for approval, you hand over control of your peace. Epictetus taught, "If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's the price of progress. Growth requires misunderstanding. Greatness requires solitude. The Stoic doesn't chase praise because he knows it weakens focus. Every second you spend worrying about perception is a second stolen from purpose. Let them doubt you. Let them mock you. Their noise is proof that you're moving differently. The man who seeks validation will bend to every opinion. The man who seeks truth stands unshaken. Do what's right, not what's popular. Let your results speak when words won't. Remember, history remembers those who stayed grounded when everyone else was busy performing. Authenticity is your greatest rebellion in a world addicted to imitation. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That's the Stoic way. You don't waste energy judging how others live. You focus on how you live. Everyone today wants to look strong. Few want to be strong. They decorate weakness with filters and call it confidence. The Stoic lives without masks. He doesn't need to prove his worth. He demonstrates it through consistency. Integrity isn't about being perfect. It's about being the same person when no one's watching. When your actions align with your values, you become immune to opinion. You stop pretending, stop performing, and start living as your truest self. The result? Peace that can't be stolen, because it was never borrowed from anyone else. You can't live by your values if you don't know what they are. That's why most people drift. They have no inner compass. Seneca wrote, "If a man knows not to which port he sails, no wind is favorable." That's the truth about purpose. Without clarity, you chase everything and arrive nowhere. The Stoic defines his principles and lives by them, no matter the cost. He doesn't bend them for comfort or convenience. He knows what he stands for, and because of that, he stands tall when others fall. Your values are your armor. When temptation whispers, they remind you who you are. When fear screams, they anchor you in reason. Define your code. Live by it fiercely. Because a man without principles is a ship without a rudder, drifting, fragile, and forgettable. Your code must be lived, not spoken. Words are cheap. Consistency is rare. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." The Stoic doesn't boast about discipline. He practices it when no one's watching. Every choice is a reflection of his philosophy. Integrity isn't built in public. It's forged in silence when temptation whispers, and no one will ever know. You either act in alignment or you betray yourself. There's no middle ground. Modern society celebrates appearances, but Stoicism celebrates action. Talkers crave recognition, doers crave results. Each day, you have a chance to prove your principles through small decisions: how you speak, how you react, how you follow through. Virtue is a verb. Character is repetition. You are what you repeatedly do, nothing more, nothing less. Excellence isn't a gift, it's a habit. Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act but a habit. That truth dismantles every excuse. You don't become disciplined by accident. You earn it by doing the hard thing over and over until it becomes who you are. The Stoic understands that mastery is built in monotony. It's the daily grind, the workouts no one sees, the restraint no one applauds, the effort you put in when motivation is gone. That's where greatness hides. Most people quit because they get bored with repetition, but repetition is the forge of excellence. You must fall in love with consistency, not excitement. The world rewards the man who shows up relentlessly, not the one who shows up occasionally. Discipline isn't glamorous, it's divine. Consistency is the most underrated superpower. Everyone wants intensity, few can handle persistence. Marcus Aurelius didn't conquer an empire through passion, he did it through routine, day after day, duty after duty, without complaint. He wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, I have to go to work as a human being." That's Stoic discipline. You don't wake up when you feel like it. You wake up because it's time to act. Passion fades. Purpose endures. The Stoic doesn't chase moods. He honors commitments. You won't always feel inspired, but that's irrelevant. What matters is that you move anyway. Consistency builds confidence. Confidence builds momentum. And momentum builds greatness. If you want to change your life, forget motivation. Build discipline and move forward every single day. Discipline isn't about punishment. It's about protection. It guards your potential from being wasted. Seneca said, "To be everywhere is to be nowhere." That's the tragedy of the unfocused mind. It tries to do everything and finishes nothing. You can't build power if you scatter your energy in 1,000 directions. The Stoic knows that focus is sacred. He doesn't multitask. He moves with precision. Each action has intention. Each day has structure. When you live with purpose, distractions lose their grip. You stop chasing noise and start mastering one thing at a time. The undisciplined man calls structure suffocating. The Stoic calls it freedom. Focus is how you multiply your impact. You don't need more hours. You need more clarity. Discipline doesn't confine you. It channels your strength into results. Focus is the weapon that cuts through chaos. Epictetus told his students, "If you wish to be good, first believe that you are bad." Why? Because awareness is the beginning of mastery. You must confront your distractions before you can conquer them. Look at your habits. What steals your attention? Your energy, your time. Every scroll, every idle conversation, every pointless argument is an invisible thief. The Stoic sees it and eliminates it without emotion. Detachment isn't coldness, it's clarity. You can't reach greatness while clutching mediocrity. The more you focus, the more the unnecessary burns away. That's when discipline transforms into peace. When your priorities are clear, decisions become simple. The weak drift through life reacting. The Stoic directs every movement with intention. Control your focus, and you control your future. Stillness is not laziness, it's power under control. Marcus Aurelius practiced stillness every morning, reminding himself to meet the day with calm. He wrote, "Nowhere can man find a quieter or more untroubled retreat than in his own soul." That's Stoic meditation, not escape, but alignment in silence. You meet your true self. The modern world fears stillness because it exposes truth, but the Stoic embraces it because reflection sharpens awareness. You don't grow by constant motion. You grow by deliberate pause. Stillness isn't doing nothing, it's preparing everything. It's where clarity replaces confusion, and intention replaces impulse. Every warrior needs moments of silence to sharpen his sword. If you never slow down, you'll never see what truly drives you. Sit with your thoughts, listen to your soul. That's where command begins. Reflection is the weapon of the wise. Seneca advised, "Each day, call yourself to account. What bad habit have you cured today? What vice have you resisted?" That's how the Stoic measures progress, not by praise, but by self-honesty. You can't improve what you refuse to examine. Every night should be an audit. Did I live by my principles? Did I react with reason or emotion? Did I waste or invest my time? Self-reflection isn't weakness. It's the foundation of power. The man who studies himself becomes his own teacher. The man who ignores himself becomes his own enemy. Growth requires confrontation, facing your flaws, your failures, your excuses. But through that discomfort comes evolution. The Stoic reviews not to regret, but to refine. Every night is a report card on your character. Reflection without correction is self-deception. Marcus Aurelius didn't just write his meditations to feel wise. He wrote to sharpen his soul. He reviewed his day, his thoughts, his reactions, holding himself accountable like a general inspecting his troops. He knew self-awareness without action is vanity. The Stoic reviews, then recalibrates. If he fell short, he doesn't drown in guilt, he adjusts course. That's the difference between shame and discipline. Shame paralyzes, discipline refines. Each night is a chance to reset, to forgive yourself, and to do better tomorrow. The weak run from their reflection because it exposes truth. The strong study it because it exposes potential. The Stoic doesn't aim for perfection, he aims for progress. Each honest reflection is one step closer to mastery. Mastery is not a destination, it's a discipline. You don't arrive, you refine. Epictetus told his students, "No great thing is created suddenly." That's the truth modern minds hate to hear. Everyone wants instant results, but greatness demands endurance. The Stoic doesn't chase quick wins, he plays the infinite game. He repeats, he adjusts, he improves. Each day is a repetition of commitment. You become powerful not by what you do once, but by what you do relentlessly. Progress is invisible until it isn't. One day, you'll look back and realize that every small act of discipline, every moment of restraint, built the strength you now carry. That's how transformation happens, quietly, consistently, and over time. Be patient with the process, but ruthless with your effort. You want transformation, not motivation. Motivation fades with mood, but transformation endures through method. Marcus Aurelius said, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." That's the secret. Your daily thoughts, words, and habits stain your soul with their pattern. If you want to change your life, you must change your pattern. The Stoic doesn't wait for breakthroughs. He builds them through repetition, reflection, and resolve. You transform by aligning your mind, body, and actions toward one aim, excellence. Every day, you either reinforce your weakness or strengthen your will. The choice happens in the smallest actions. How you wake, how you react, how you persist. Transformation isn't magic, it's muscle built through discipline. Think higher, act tighter. Live truer. That's how the Stoic turns philosophy into fire. True transformation demands sacrifice. You can't become who you're meant to be while clinging to who you were. Seneca said, "It is not that life is too short, but that we waste much of it. You waste it on comfort, distraction, and fear of change." But evolution requires elimination. The Stoic cuts away everything that dulls his edge: people, habits, excuses, indulgences. He understands that growth and comfort cannot coexist. The man you're becoming is waiting on the other side of discipline. But to reach him, you must bury the man who avoids it. Pain will greet you there, but so will freedom. Every sacrifice carves space for a stronger version of you to emerge. You cannot carry your old self into your new life. Let him go. Change is violent. It tears through comfort and exposes truth. That's why most people retreat back into mediocrity. But the Stoic welcomes that violence because he knows it's the breaking that builds him. Marcus Aurelius said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." Your resistance, your fear, your struggle, those are not obstacles, they are invitations. You cannot sculpt marble without striking it. Likewise, you cannot sculpt your character without pressure. Every hardship you face is life chiseling you into form. The pain you feel today is the foundation of the strength you'll need tomorrow. The Stoic doesn't pray for less hardship. He prays for more capacity. When the weak ask, "Why me?" the Stoic replies, "Because I can handle it." That's power earned through endurance, not ease. Resilience isn't built when life is calm. It's built when everything collapses and you choose to rise anyway. Epictetus said, "Circumstances reveal the man. When pressure hits, it exposes your training. Anyone can be calm when life is smooth. The Stoic stays calm when life burns." That's not luck, that's practice. Every challenge is a rehearsal for mastery. The more you endure with composure, the thicker your armor grows. Adversity becomes your conditioning. The Stoic mind doesn't ask for pity. It asks, "What's my next move?" Pain doesn't paralyze him. It prepares him. Because he knows resilience isn't found in comfort. It's forged in chaos. You want power? Then stop wishing for easy days. Pray for the strength to face the hard ones and still stand tall. Strength without compassion becomes tyranny. The Stoic understands that power must be balanced with empathy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "We were born to work together like feet, hands, and eyes. You're not meant to dominate others. You're meant to elevate them through example." The modern world glorifies selfish ambition, but the Stoic leads through service. He knows that kindness is not weakness, it's discipline directed outward. It takes restraint to listen, patience to forgive, humility to understand. Seneca said, "Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for kindness." Compassion doesn't dilute your strength, it refines it. The warrior who can stay calm and kind in a cruel world holds true power. Lead with virtue, not ego. Influence through integrity, not intimidation. When you live with Stoic discipline, every moment becomes sacred. You stop reacting and start responding. You stop drifting and start directing. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus all taught the same truth. Mastery begins within. You can't command the world until you command yourself. The Stoic way is not a philosophy, it's a practice. It's how you rise every morning with intention, how you face hardship with calm, how you choose virtue over vanity. Every day you live with awareness, gratitude, and courage. You move closer to unshakable peace. Life will not get easier, but you will get stronger, wiser, quieter. That's the victory. So live deliberately, think deeply, act decisively. Be the calm in the storm. Be the proof that true power comes from within. Before you click away, remember this: knowledge without action dies in your mind. You've heard the truth. Now it's your turn to live it. Don't wait for the perfect moment to change. Make this moment the one that defines you. Every choice, every thought, every act of discipline is a declaration of who you are becoming. So take what you've learned here and apply it. Build your routine. Face your fears. Strengthen your mind. Drop your thoughts and reflections below. Your insight might be the spark that inspires someone else's transformation. Thank you for listening. And remember, this is Momentum Mindset, where we turn philosophy into power and mindset into movement. Stay disciplined, stay grounded, and never stop evolving.